Hey, and welcome to this preview of the transits for April 2025. I'm Sandra Walker. Um, and before we preview April, I just want to review March just quickly. So we talked in my last video about the energies for March and just wondering how they actually played out for you. What I observed was obviously we had Venus go retrograde in Aries, followed by a lunar eclipse and swiftly followed by Mercury going retrograde in Aries also. Um, the energies I talked about were a reevaluation of your self-worth, your relationships, whether they be intimate relationships or friendships, reevaluation of what it is that you love, how you wish to receive love, how you give love. Um, and so my sense from those energies was that what was playing out was as Neptune was preparing to move into the 0 degree creation degree of Aries, we were being asked to go within to really get a sense of what values we were living by, which were maybe no longer of service to who we are now. Maybe they were values that we were conditioned, things we were conditioned to value, either as part of growing up within the family we did or within the society that we have grown up in. And so it was giving us an opportunity to really check in with, are those really my values? Are those really things that I value? And if not, why am I still operating from a place that seems to value those things? With Mercury coming in quite quickly after Venus, it was giving us an opportunity um, along with that assessment, start to recalibrate our thought processes, our beliefs that were possibly based on the value system that we had adopted from outside of ourselves. And as we are understanding and feeling into the uh, the values that really matter to us, who we are now, bearing in mind that we have been evolving at a very rapid rate for some time now, uh, allowing our logical processes, our thoughts, our beliefs, and our self-expression to come into alignment with the values that really mean something to who we are now. The eclipse portal allowed us to look at our relationships, allowed us to look at our thoughts and our beliefs, allowed us to really shed a light on what matters to us now, what we are letting go of that no longer supports us, and what we are either taking with us from who we already were or renewing what we are initiating. It wasn't a time for, and still isn't, because we still have some retrograde energy happening, wasn't a time for big actions. Quite often, when we take big actions during a retrograde period, it is because we are feeling the discomfort, we are feeling the realignment, and we are feeling the call to go in and explore our inner world, explore what is coming up for us. And rather than sit with it and be present, it's quite often easier to try to make big decisions outside of ourselves that will distract us from actually doing the inner work. Now, the caveat to that is sometimes big things are present in our lives at that moment in time. And that doesn't mean that you have to just put everything on hold or stop mode. But if you are using the energy that is created by the retrograde feeling the bigness of it and then trying to project that outwards into a big move externally, then you probably want to come back in. The closing of the portal was really trying to help us to see our way forward. The day after the eclipse portal closed, we had Jupiter, sorry, not Jupiter at all. We had Neptune move into Aries, the 0 degree Aries. And so already the air feels different. So the 30th of March was when Neptune moved into Aries. Neptune had been in Pisces for 13 years. 13, 14 years. And so that period began in 2011. And for most people, they will have a distinct memory of 2011. It's a good idea to explore various different aspects of self around 2011, because you may notice that the one really obvious thing that showed up is only one thing, and that there was a whole array of different things going on in your life at that time that have evolved since that point, that have given you a broader perspective since that point. And where you're totally different now that it is leaving that particular sign. So for me personally, 2011 was a year that I became pregnant. So, that was a really obvious journey that I went on, and it was most definitely a journey that expanded my consciousness, not just the pregnancy, but the years that followed of being a mother, and still continue to. There was also a reminder recently dropped in that was also a time when I had begun my training in reflexology, which was my first step into the world of energy, alternative complementary therapies. And that the first time I placed my hands on someone's feet, I just felt this huge expansive energy through the top of my head. At the time, I didn't have the language to understand what was happening. I didn't know anything about chakras. I didn't know really very much about energy. I just felt this crazy sensation that actually felt really uncomfortable at the time, and made me feel like I wanted to put a hat on. I was in London training in reflexology. I had to get the tube home. I was surrounded by lots and lots of people, and this was just so overwhelming for me. And I just wanted to cover my head in order to block it out. And it today made me realize that at that moment in time, I was looking for lots of answers as to what was happening. The more I did reflexology, the more my intuition grew and expanded. And I didn't have people around me who understood that. And I was looking for people to be mentors or shine some light on what this was, because I didn't have words for it. And they weren't in my circle at the time. I'm not saying they didn't exist. Of course, there are very many intuitive, spiritual people around the world, and have been for eons, but they weren't in my circle. They weren't in my normal sphere of life. And now, as Neptune just moved out of Pisces, I understand that I'm surrounded by so many people who are in touch with energies, who are in touch with their intuition, who see the world through a more spiritual lens. And so that's a pretty significant change. Now, I have changed location since that period of time. I now live in Australia, and maybe that's got something to do with it. But for me, the personal journey was from having no reference point to that in my life at the beginning of that transit to being surrounded by it at the end. So it would be interesting to see, as you explore for yourself, what various different themes occur for you. And the reason I find it interesting is because we are now moving into a different energy. We're moving from Neptune in Pisces into Neptune in Aries. Neptune in Pisces representing endings of, I feel that it is the conclusion of that spiritual development. And now we're moving into Aries. It's like, well, how do we move forward with that? How do we move forward with the person that we are now? It has taken that 13 or 14 years in training to really understand it. And it's been an evolutionary process. It's been a process of removing layers of who you thought you were and discovering layers of who you actually are. And even more so in the last few months, that has definitely been, it's almost like we're getting to the center with Venus in retrograde, asking us to really go in, Mercury in retrograde asking us to do the same at the same time, at that changeover point, going from Aries back into Pisces and about to come from Pisces back into Aries. And so it's how do we move forward now? Are you moving forward from those old patterns or back into Aries, back into Pisces? Are you bringing your spiritual knowing, your intuitive knowing back through? And are you going to take action from that place? As we move into April, on the 7th of April, Mercury goes direct in Pisces. And so Mercury moves first, the mind moves faster. And he gets to move forward in Pisces, and he doesn't spend long in Pisces. It's only 4 days. On the 16th, he will move into Aries. So it's the opportunity to start over. We're in 0 degrees Aries. We're at creation point. It's the opportunity to start over with your belief system, with your thought processes, with the way that you express yourself in the world. The 12th of April, we have quite a busy chart. We have the full moon in Libra. The full moon is in opposition to the sun, which is conjunct Chiron in Aries. So if we tie sun conjunct Chiron in Aries back into what we've just been talking about, we have Chiron, which is the wound, the anticipation of pain, the anticipation of pain in Aries, the anticipation of pain if I move forward passionately, if I embody who I am and move forward as me, this new enlightened, more intuitive version of me, if I move into the world as that being the sun I am, this is who I am now, will that cause me pain? That is in opposition to the moon, which is in Libra, and the moon who is concerned about the needs of self versus the needs of others. It's in Libra. It's trying to balance its own needs with the needs of others. It's trying always to it almost loses itself in other, because it wants everyone to be happy. It wants peace. It wants justice. It doesn't want to rock the boat, but it also has a deep understanding of the other person's view and perspective. But that's in opposition to this sun conjunct Chiron. And so it feels like a space for healing. It's also in a positive aspect to the, and sorry, I'll just pull up that chart so I get this right. It's also in a square to Mars in Cancer. So it's, will I feel pain by owning who I am, by owning this more evolved version of me, by releasing the releasing all of the things I thought I was, that I was conditioned to believe. Although I don't believe those things anymore, there's a sense of safety in them because it's what I've known. So is there pain in releasing those things? That's in square to Mars in Cancer. Mars is at 27 degrees Cancer, so it's leaving Cancer. It's been in Cancer for a very long time. Mars is not happy in Cancer. It is Cancer's too slow and introverted for Mars's big energy. But Mars in Cancer can also be nurturing to your inner world, nurturing to the taking action, taking nurturing, nourishing action. So there's that square of, will this hurt? But actually, it's what is it's going to nurture me. There's the square of the opposition of, but I need it to be okay for everyone. But really, it needs to be okay for me first. I need to embody my comfort, my trust, my acceptance of who I am, what I value, and how I move forward in the world. And those other things will take care of themselves. The positive aspects to that Chiron conjunct the Sun are the Jupiter in Gemini, and so therefore it's asking us to expand our mind, expand your mind beyond the little me. You need to become who you truly are and stop trying to fit into the box that was given to you. You don't fit in there anymore. You've moved beyond that. Okay, so that's 12th of April is a big day. So what comes up for you that asks you to stay small, my best advice to you is to be brave, come back to what your core values are and move from that space as because some part of you will feel totally in alignment with that, and another part of you may feel terrified by it. Lean into the aligned part because it will break you through. As I said, we have Mercury moving into Aries on the 16th of April, which is 4 days later. And so your thought moves into the creation point. Whatever processing you need to do around that Sun in Chiron will be easier once that Mercury moves into Aries. And on the 18th, we have Mars moving into Leo. And Mars is comfortable in Leo. That's an exciting placement. Leo is all about the heart. And we've had so much Venus energy through March and again it will be coming through in April, that it all just feels so beautifully aligned. It's these reevaluations taking place, really asking you to come into your core, and this Mars in Leo asking you to operate from your heart, asking you to take action from your heart and with passion, with desire, with creativity. It's a very Leo is very creative sign, and obviously we're working with the 0 point of creativity. We're creating something new. And just keep reminding yourself of that. We're creating something new. This is a new era. The old rules no longer apply. We can continue to operate under the old rules, but that will leave us out of alignment with the energy that now exists. And so there will be struggle in that place until you realign. You always have that choice, and you can take as long as you need. But the fluidity is in the operating from our intuition, operating from our heart, operating from our newest core values of our most evolved version of self. And then we have on the 19th, the sun enters Taurus, which again drops us in. It helps us to embody all of that beautiful energy, all of that beautiful realignment that's been taking place, all of that insight still coming through from Pisces. We still have Saturn, North Node, and Venus in Pisces at that point. And so this Sun in Taurus helps us to embody all of that intuitive, heartfelt newness, new energy. The yeah, so it also, Taurus is a very sensual sign, so it's bringing us into our senses. So although we are realigning and rewiring our mind, with all of this Mercury retrograde and then Mercury moving direct and into Aries, realigning our mind and our thoughts and our beliefs, all of that is coming from our heart, is coming from our intuition, is coming from the embodiment and our use of our senses, our sensory aspects of being, all informing the way that we now think. And for such a long time, we have allowed our logical aspect of being to be the forerunner, to lead the way. Whereas now we're having this reversal of processing, so that all of these other aspects of ourselves are leading the way, and our thought processes and our self-expression is following those. And that's just a beautiful way to exist. On the 20th of April, then we have Venus conjunct North Node. And I want to pull up the chart for the 20th as well, because it was just a beautiful chart. So Venus conjunct Saturn conjunct North Node in Pisces still. So we have North Node and Saturn at 26 degrees and Venus at 25. So we have Venus she's now direct. So she's moving out into the world again, with this spiritual reevaluation having taken place. And we have the North Node, which is our future direction, which is our true purpose, which is where we're moving towards. And that is also still in Pisces. We're still moving towards our dreams. We're still moving towards our higher consciousness. We're now, our values are now aligned with that purpose. And Saturn is right there also to provide structure for us to move that forward. Saturn gives us structure. Saturn is quite often associated with limitation, but it only creates limitation until we are mature enough to recognize what is in alignment for us and move in that space. And now Saturn and Venus and the North Node are all helping us to do that. They are in a beautiful, harmonious aspect to Mars and Leo. So doing that from our heart, taking that positive action, being passionate, moving forward. It's also in positive aspect to to Pluto in Aquarius. So it's also feeding into our collective purpose. It's feeding into our capacity to transform humanity, to facilitate the death and rebirth of humanity, of the collective, of our sense of community, and indeed of technology. When we talk about being of service to community, I think that all of these transits are actually helping us to become who we are, who we truly are, who we were born to be. And once that is embodied, once we can feel that in every cell of our being, in every atom that makes up who we are, then we can be of service to the community, to humanity. For as long as we continue to try to fit into what society expects of us, society is a construct. It's not real. It's not who we are. And as long as we try to fit into that, we're denying who we truly are. And therefore, we can never achieve any real change. There can never be transformation in the collective because we're fitting in. So we're all becoming a similar energy as opposed to our own individual energy. And when we all embody our own individual energy and come together, we amplify, we bring to the space what is necessary, we thrive in what it is we're here to do, and we support other people in thriving in their space. There's no competition, there's collaboration. And so it feels to me that that's what all of this energy is moving us towards. And of course, there's that beautiful aspect to Pluto in Aquarius supporting that. Okay. Then we have a new moon in Taurus, which, you know, under the new moon, we set our seeds of intention, and oh, how juicy can they be by the end of April, having had all of those energies flowing through, embodying them all, understanding them at a deeper level in your being, and then being able to set intentions from fresh values, from fresh mindset, and knowing that you can take action that's heart-led. And in Taurus, so you know that is an earth sign, so you're literally planting those seeds in the earth, which allows for long-term growth, allows for, you know, these are seeds that will grow over the space of this lunar cycle, but there are also seeds that will grow for a much longer period of time. And finally, we have Venus in Aries. So Venus finally moves into Aries, the 0 degrees point of creation. So maybe we can reimagine, recreate what it is to love. We've got Mars in Leo also. To love, to be loved, to be in relationship with others, to be in relationship with our feminine, to really embody our feminine in Taurus with Venus, really embody our feminine. That's another really important aspect of all of this change, where we're moving out of the patriarchal way that we've been living. And the only way we can do that really is to embody the feminine. I'm not saying that we move from one to the other. I'm saying that if we don't want to be dominated by a patriarchal system, then it's our responsibility to access our feminine energy, whether you be male or female, to access our feminine energy, to work with it, to bring it attention and focus, and therefore energy and vitality and power. And how you do that will be different for each different person. But that feels like a really important, especially as Venus has been such a strong influence over these March and April. This feels like a really important piece of the puzzle. We talk about patriarchy and how it fails us and how it restricts us and how it prevents us from being all that we can be. But until we embody the aspects of freedom, of our femininity, of our true values, of our true essence, then we have no power to make any change. So we're looking at a revolution here. Neptune in Aries represents revolution. We're looking at a revolution, but my sense of it is, and of course, there may be various other ways that it plays out, but my sense of it is that it's an inner revolution. It's an inner understanding, deep understanding of who we are, an inner reconnection to our deep feminine knowing, to our intuitive being, to our heart's power and capacity. And all of this comes together in Taurus season, through the latter parts of April. And so we get to embody it. We get to feel it powerfully within our own being. And Neptune will remain in Aries for the next 13 years. And so that will show us how to move forward from that space. I hope this has been of benefit to you. I hope some of it makes sense and that it may shine a light on how you are experiencing the energies that are currently coming through. If you liked this recording, please hit like. If you want to hear more, hit subscribe. I believe there's a little bell thing that you can hit for notifications of when I put videos out. So please feel free to do that. If you have any questions about how these energies may be hitting your chart, please comment below. If you have any questions about any of the topics that I've discussed today, comment below and I will endeavor to respond to you as I can. But until the next time, I hope that these energies are kind to you. I hope that you I hope you find beauty in them, another aspect of Libra and of Venus, and of Taurus indeed. I hope you find your way of grounding in these beautiful energies, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.